Greetings, students, and welcome to another fun-filled day here at
Horror in the Halls.
What's up, kids, and welcome to Horror in the Halls. I'm Bob, aka Mr. Holland.
And I'm Jenny, aka Mrs. Hill.
And we're just two high school teachers educating the masses on the spooky stuff we love. And it's August here in the halls, and that means it's time to go back to school. In this week's lesson, friends who slay together, stay together. So join us as we cover 2017's Tragedy Girls.
Dun, dun, dun.
I like this movie. I know.
It's
you just told me.
alright.
I thought it was great. Interesting take. Interesting cast. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, interesting cast for sure.
A lot of weird ties to Marvel. I'll get to that in a second in my fun facts. Let's get to the deets. Of course, you could probably tell from this movie, it was definitely a South by Southwest movie. So, premiered March 12th, 2017 at South by Southwest. Wide release October 20th, 2017, which is a much better time frame, I think, for this movie. Runtime, 98 minutes. It was directed by Tyler McIntyre. He also did Patchwork, Into the Dark, and he did one of the segments on VHS 99, which was pretty good. It was Gawkers.
Okay.
Not a lot of credits, but some. Written by Chris Lee Hill and Tyler McIntyre, so some of this was written by him. The cinematography is pretty interesting. It's Paul Porgozelski. I don't know how you say that right or not, but he did like Hereditary, Midsommar, Nobody. He's doing the new Blue Beetle movie, so he's done some of those artsy kind of weird things, and you can see that in his shots for this one. Oh, let's see.
Those A24 movies.
Yes, it seems like an A24 film, right? A little too gory to be straight A24, but I can definitely see the influence there, I think, coming from some of that. We got Brandon Merlin and Brian Sides doing the special effects for this one, which I think they did a pretty good job. And there's some visual effects by Thomas D. Mosier. Also, you don't really notice the big difference between the two, so I kind of liked them. Budget of $15 million. Box office was 63.2, so that's not too bad. Seems pretty all right. See, 84 critic score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
But a 63 audience, which I thought was kind of interesting. Normally you see them flipped, unless it's an A24 film, then the audience ones are real high. I mean, the critics ones are real high. So it was kind of similar for this one.
Because it did present itself as more of artsy.
Yeah. It's got that artsy indie film feel.
I just felt like it was.
Yeah, I agree. It's just interesting. Had a great cast, very prominent at the time. Pretty solid movie. 3.0 on Letterboxd. Can't beat that. Like I said, great cast. You got Alexandria Shipp as Michaela Hooper. She was pretty funny, like the actual sociopath there. Brianna Hildebrand as Sadie Cunningham. Both crazy. Josh Hutcherson is in this as Toby Mitchell. He went uncredited. So he's like not credited in this film at all.
That's weird.
He's like their first major kill, which I thought was kind of interesting. Freaking Craig Robinson as Big Al. I loved him in that one. Big Al is so funny. I love Craig Robinson in anything.
Yeah, he's funny.
Like, I'm forever sort of low-key quoting him. Like, when I say synced it all the time, it's from him from Zach and Miri Make a Porno. He's always like, I synced.
Oh my gosh. That's one of my favorite movies.
That's why I say synced all the time. Craig Robinson is so funny. Kevin Durand as freaking Lowell Lehman, the serial killer. He was great. They're like, freaking Leland. Like, they're always like mad at him and stuff. I'm like, that dude's like a murderer. He's like a slasher. And you're just like, oh. And you're answering to a little girl, which I thought was pretty funny. Jack Quaid in this is Jordan Welch, which him and Josh Hutcherson both are way too old. Like, he looks like, at least Josh Hutcherson kind of looks like a senior in high school. Like, he was held back a year. Jack Quaid looks like he's 40 years old.
Yeah, they both looked too old to be in this movie.
Well, they're both 25 when they filmed this movie.
Yeah, so, they both looked 25.
Yeah, they were far too old. It's not like, Elijah Wood in The Faculty, who was high school age, so it makes sense. These dudes are like...
And he looked very much like a teen, so...
Yeah, he probably could now if he shaves his little fake, crappy facial hair. He looks like he's 11.
Yeah, he hasn't aged much either. He's a vampire, too.
Pretty much. Timothy Murphy as the Sheriff Welch with the best mustache of any movie ever. I think we've covered so far. Like his stash is on it. It's just a stellar mustache. That dude's a good actor too. And of course, some other people in there. Keith Hutchinson is Chuck Cunningham, her dad. I loved him. He was hilarious. He was my favorite. Andy Bertha is Mr. Hooper, like that ridiculous dad. Whatever you say, sweetheart. It was just pretty good. A lot of other people, but I really liked the cast of this movie. I thought it was pretty funny. Sadie's dad is my favorite. Like, especially that scene where he comes for like prom and he's just like,
yeah, that was funny.
And then he chuckles when he walks away. And I was like,
he's like, I got him.
It's a very dad thing to do. I would totally do that. So
Heck, I would do that to a girl coming to like with Hayden and Parker.
Just
screw y'all.
Dead face him. Wait here. Yeah. That was great. He never even responded.
What are your intentions?
Yeah. What time are you gonna be home with my child?
Like, your mom's crazy.
I know. Like, maybe we should not go to this dance. Your mom looks like something's wrong with her. Like, our mom has a horror podcast and bodies in our basement. But it's pretty great. Pretty great. So if you've never seen it, the plot is pretty, it's original, I think. So you got Michaela and Sadie, two death-obsessed teenage girls, use their online show about real-life tragedies to send their small Midwestern town into a frenzy and submit their legacy as modern horror legends. So they're kind of like, it has like a Scream vibe. There's teenagers. They're trying to be these serial killer, slasher, horror movie kind of people. And all their hijinks where they keep like accidentally.
That's the part that made me laugh. I can't say that I loved this movie because I didn't, but like there were parts of it that I really liked, and that part is funny. Like it's like they tried so hard to be hardcore and kill somebody, and it always seemed to backfire somehow.
No, and they'd be so mad about it. God, they're gonna think this is an accident again. Like you're just like,
y'all are psychopaths.
I know, right? Whenever they kill Toby, and she's all like, "Oh my God, Toby." And then they're so just like disgruntled because everyone is like, "Oh, he died. It was an accident." They're like, "It was not an accident. I stabbed him in the chest." What? Nothing. I loved everybody.
The stab wounds, and they were like, "I'm sorry, what?" And they were like, "Nothing."
Yeah, never mind. They're so sad about it.
Oh no.
Yeah, but there's so many great, I guess, nods to other horror movies in this one. I thought was really cool. There's just so much about this movie, and it actually ties just like The Faculty did. It ties into Carrie, just like our book this month. Like their prom, the whole prom setup is based on the prom at Carrie with the aluminum foil stars and how they lock them in the gin and burn them all alive. That's like straight from Carrie. So it has a little Carrie accent. And speaking of the best, probably the second best death to me in this movie, that horrible stuck-up girl on the table saw. Her lending library is the Myers house.
What? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
That's neat.
That was a pretty cool little nod in there, and she's rebuilding it.
I think that was probably one of my favorite kills of the whole movie, only because they were so angry that she literally killed herself.
I know. The most ridiculous accent ever.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, what? How are they going to know that this wasn't an accident? And so, and their solution was so ridiculous.
I know.
God, I hate y'all so much.
But it made like a hilarious scene in the morning. And one of my favorite, like, stylistically, is when the little other girl with the glasses comes in and her head's just on that spinny table thing. And then she's like, ah, and she drops the coffee, and they have that really cool shot of the coffee and blood mixing together. Artistically, I thought that was really cool.
Thing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Same thing. He's like, that was a really cool shot. And I was like, okay, Bob.
I'm glad that me and Johnny are on the same wavelength here, because it really was. It's really cool. And, to be a practical effect, it looked really good.
Oh, you mean her head or the coffee?
All of it. The coffee, the whole thing, the blood, it all looked good. The blood looked good. It didn't look cheesy.
Yeah.
But there's some fun ones. Like, there's a lot of cool references in this movie from other things. Like, the very beginning, the town is supposed to look like Riverdale, to have like an Archie Comics kind of vibe. That's why that dude at the very beginning who dies, that ridiculous guy, And that was, oh my God, one of my favorite notes.
Oh
And
yeah, because he had like the Letterman jacket on and
yeah,
all
and
that,
he's
and the
all
covered
sad. I
bridge.
thought you were a
Yeah.
man. No. But when they're talking to Lowell, and she's like, do you know how many hand jobs this girl had to give trying to get you to come kill there? And I was just like, what? Like 30. I was like,
It's
that's messed up.
gross.
That's
I
messed
know when
up.
she like wiped the steam off of the inside the car, like
Yeah,
the fogged window, and she smiles. I'm like, what a jerk.
I know, right?
She knew. She was like, oh my gosh, did you hear that?
She's all
You should
looking.
go check it out.
Go out there and look.
Why are you being such a bitch?
I know. Thought you were a man.
I was like, dang.
I'd have been like,
Uh,
no, I'm good. No.
he was like, I think we should leave. And I'm like, yeah, y'all should.
Smart horror movie response. I think we should leave. Which was cool. That
But then he
bridge.
didn't. So
No, he got murdered. He actually didn't get murdered. It was yet another thing that did not go right. They're like, God,
that was
Lowell.
so fun. Yeah, I thought you were supposed to be.
Yeah, you're supposed to be this crazy killer.
That's fine.
Well,
Your tally's now at 4 again.
yeah. Well, it's like 4.5. 4.5. We finished him off. I was like, that's great. His character was funny too.
That's
I'm gonna
funny.
eat your guts. They're like, sure, buddy. Go to sleep. They put him in that silo. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. But I really dig it. Like I just think it's an interesting take, right? And it's like you have like the Scream vibe, but like this one was so much more of like, and I think as a teacher, we look at it like the social media's influence on students
Oh my god.
and just their
Yeah, that's
phones
part I was
influence.
so annoyed with it. I was the teacher, Miss Kent. I was like, God, put your phone up. Like
I know.
your phones are just ridiculous.
You're
You don't need
terrible.
them.
Narcissistic, and just with all these qualities. You're singling us out. Like, shut up. No, we're not.
Like, no, you're all pretty much the same.
But they
So,
act just like a lot of like just teens, man. Like the apathy we deal with in a classroom. It's those kids. Those kids are not like serial killers like these kids were. They're like mass murderers, but we see it on a pretty common basis in our classrooms. Things just like this. I thought that was kind of cool.
I made a comment on my notes saying like it's the whole premise is they're mad because they're not relevant. And I'm like, because they were talking about how Toby had all these followers, and she's like, how? He just posts the same picture over and over of him on his stupid motorcycle. And I'm
No.
like, and then he was talking about all his quotes, like he
Yes.
just, he tries to be inspirational, and I'm like, oh my god.
She's just like staring at him. Hey, Tobes, you just gotta live your life, You just gotta get out there, just take it all in. I'm like, I would want to choke him to sleep, but like,
Sadie really did want to choke him.
I know she
to
was
death.
like, we have to kill Toby right now
She's like, but why?
because he's
That's
more famous
funny.
than we are. And then you're right though; it was all about like the search or like the desire for relevancy. Because even when they're like, oh my God, how come you didn't cover the news? My top looks really good today. Like she was so upset. And I'm like, you killed some people, but you're more worried about not being on the news and being like the center of attention. So I'd like to see them making part 2 of this. I think that'd be funny. If the girls in college doing it all over again. I'd watch it. I'd 100% watch it.
I don't know. You'd probably end up making me watch it at some point.
Heck yeah,
and I'd be
pick
like,
it again.
Freaking hate you so much.
It was good, man. Like I thought it was pretty solid.
I didn't say it wasn't good. It's just it wasn't my cup of tea.
I think it's I don't know. I think from a educational perspective, this is exactly how kids are today. Very apathetic, very much they just want to be like famous and popular and they don't really care why. And not all kids, of course, but like the majority. They want to fit in. These 2 girls wanted to be like the leaders of the school, even when the one girl dies, and I can't remember her name right now. The
Syl? What is
annoying one is Syl. Yeah, SYL. So I guess that's Syl. When she dies, and they give like this, they're speaking at her like eulogy, and she's like, she was captain of their cheer team, a position that I hope to take over now. And I'm just like, you just said that at her eulogy. Like, I hope that it's my new job. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Like, it's just, she just didn't care. They only cared about what benefited them. And I really I don't know. I thought they to be older like that, they hit a pretty good. They really hit on what it's actually like in our situations. Like these are classes we see.
Yeah, and I was like, how in the hell did these two turds become president and vice president of the student council?
Nobody
Like,
else probably
what?
wanted it really.
I guess.
Well, I mean, they're
Jeez.
popular and they were seniors, obviously, as they make fun of still
Yeah.
later. Like, look, Junior, one day when you're a senior, you can have this decision. She's just real ridiculous. And obviously, they
Yeah.
said Sadie gave like 30 hand jobs. She got all the votes from the dudes.
So stupid.
I know, it was ridiculous. It was funny, though. There's so many good one liners and quotes in this. It's great. So, a couple of cool things. The bridge they used was actually like recommended to them by the people in the town they filmed in because it was supposed to be like a lover's lane, like a fake place.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, use this bridge. It was built in 96. It's not an old bridge, it's newer, which was like the same year Scream came out, which was like obviously a huge influence on this movie. So they chose to use it. I thought it looked really cool. It made for a cool shot. Like some of those down the bridge scenes, and then all of a sudden Lowell's out of nowhere in his big, ridiculous mask. I kind of dug it. I like it. And also the bookish student, the girl with glasses, like Syl's best friend, was not supposed to be in this movie but one time. But she was so funny that they kept her in so many times. Like her drunk scene at the dance is really funny.
Yeah,
Where she has that one drink and she's all dancing all stupid and ridiculous. It was funny.
yeah. That's me.
I had one sip. I'm drunk.
Oh, Johnny will give me one little glass of wine, and I'm talking little, and I'm like, I just feel like I'm floating. So, uh,
Okay, I'm good now.
I'm like, I can go to sleep now. Thank you. It's
But yeah,
funny.
that is not me. I love all the nods in this though, like, and the funny things when they say like Argento's name wrong over and over again, like Michaela does, and Josh is looking at her like Argento, Sargento, and she just says something stupid, and he's like, that was on
Oh
purpose
yeah, I
as
was
a little
like trying to
tribute.
remember what you were talking about, but yeah, that was funny.
And then they
Yeah,
have
'cause she hated him so
yes.
much.
Well, then it's cool though that you find out at the end, like, we killed your freaking mom. Like on
Yeah, he gets
purpose.
on my nerves. I was so
Yeah.
aggravated with him at the end. I was like, you know what? I don't even care that you died, you idiot. You knew, you overheard that whole conversation
He loved
that
her,
she
man.
killed your mother, who you miss dearly. And you're
Uh-huh.
gonna be like, oh no, you didn't have nothing to do with this. She's crazy, blah blah blah. I'm like, you're naive. Shut
Yeah. It was her plan, I guarantee it. Like, you're just like, oh, I love you. He loved her, man. Look at that dude. He's lame. No one dates the sheriff's kid.
No.
So he was like, oh my God, pretty blonde girl. Please love me. Please love me.
Oh, there's a quote at the end. It makes me laugh. I just saw it on here, but like when Michaela's dad is seeing them off,
Yeah.
and he's like, he looked at the mom. He goes, "We did good," and I was like, "No, Dad, you didn't.
You did terrible.
y'all effed up somewhere." So
I did like that though, because a lot of times when you see killers that are young in these movies, they always come from like horrible, tragic lives. And
yeah,
both these, like, especially her life is pretty like she lives in a nice house. Her parents are together. Sadie's,
yeah,
lives in a trailer park and her mom's gone. So like hers, you can see her being like a little bit of a hunger for that, like whatever. But the other girl is like, yeah, I'm affluent and popular and I'm a
yeah. And
cheerleader.
Sadie had a very loving, caring dad.
Yeah, her dad was awesome. Hey, sweetheart, thanks for putting my dinner in the refrigerator. You know what I mean? Like he was just like, she probably just,
Yeah,
and I thought he was about to be like abusive. You take my truck, and she was like, I put gas in it. All right, cool. And he was just totally fine. He was like my favorite character because he's just funny. I'm lazy. I watch this TV. I don't really care what you do. Just don't be stupid. You probably should have watched your daughter more because she cut some people up
yeah, like chopped him up real bad.
with no hesitation at
So
all.
the part that kill with Syl in the shop. First of all, I know you're gonna do your roll call of death or whatever, but I
Yeah.
wanted to say this because before I forget. But tell me why we were watching it, and when the janitor walks in,
Mm-hmm.
and they just kind of stop and they're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
And Johnny goes, "I bet he doesn't even look up." And he
Yeah.
does it. He turns the light off, and I'm like, "What? That's absurd."
That's one of those tropes, though, man, where they have the janitor like doing something with like
Yeah.
music on. They did it in Terrifier too. Like he's just like, and
Oh
then
my
like
gosh.
someone's getting murdered like right there. Like these girls are chopping up a body. He's just like, this trash has got stuff in it. Okay, and he just left. That dude was actually a serial killer in Too Many Cooks.
Oh my
That
gosh,
Adult
that's
Swim
funny.
nonsense. Yeah, it's hilarious. And I said earlier that these girls had a tie-in to the Marvel world. So both of them have played superheroes in Marvel. Like Brianna Hildebrand is teenage or Negasonic Teenage Warhead in Deadpool, all the Deadpool
Okay.
movies. And Andrea Shipp plays Young Storm in X-Men Apocalypse, which actually she has a
Okay.
cameo in the first Deadpool or second Deadpool. Whenever he goes to the mansion, it might be the first Deadpool. It's the first Deadpool. And they open that door and all those characters are behind the door. Have you seen Deadpool?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, she's in those movies, but they're both played superheroes.
No, it was one of those things where we were waiting to watch it when the kids were a little
Yeah.
older,
Oh,
and if we
yeah.
did watch some of it in the living room or whatever, and we just haven't gotten around to it. It's one of those things.
Yeah,
We're
you should
trying
probably
to
watch it in your room. There's a couple weird scenes.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. But she's Storm in X-Men Apocalypse and X-Men Dark Phoenix. So they're both in the Fox Marvel universe. But Brianna Hildebrand should be in the new Deadpool movie, which is like a full Marvel movie. So she will be full on, which I think is really funny. And then let's see, Catherine Munson is in Logan. I can't remember who she plays though. And then Kevin Durand is the Blob in X-Men Origins Wolverine. So there's a lot of people from like the Fox Marvel world in this one.
Okay.
He's great. That movie is not great, but Kevin Durand, whatever, he's awesome. I love him in almost anything. He's like that Angel in like Legion, and he's in The Strain. He's like the Russian rat catcher or whatever. He's pretty cool. He has that look.
Oh,
He
is that the one who plays Lowell?
yeah. He just has a good look.
What's funny is I forgot about him being in Legion, which I love that movie. I haven't seen that movie in forever. I like what's his name? Oh my god, why is it drawing a blank?
Gosh, me too. And I've met him.
The main character.
Yeah. Crap.
Okay, I'll come back to that. But anyways, I remembered him from City of Bones when they tried to do it as a movie.
Yeah.
And he was one of the like estranged shadow hunters, which I really liked that. He was good in that too.
He's good in everything. The dude's Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany. Dang.
I love Paul Bettany. I met him. He looked like a pedo when I met him, though. He had a weird mustache. It was creepy.
Yeah, he probably had that for didn't he have that for a certain movie?
Yeah, he was filming that. I met him at like a Star Wars celebration, though, because he was there because, he's in Star Wars, but he's also Vision. So he had a huge draw for him.
Oh, he's so awesome. I love him.
He's great. First time I ever saw him was when he played Chaucer in A Knight's Tale. I love that movie.
I know that I do too.
Everyone hates
it,
but I love him. I also love
all
Shannon
my favorite
Salzman.
people in it.
Everyone's like, I hate her. She's terrible. I love her. I think she's beautiful.
Well, it's got my guy in it from. Isn't the guy from Tucker and Dale in that?
Yeah, Alan Tudyk. I will fall you. Yeah, 100%. My favorite line when he's like, pain, a lot of pain. I love him.
I'm sorry, we're so off track, but that's so funny.
What's great about Alan Tudyk is him and Paul Bettany are both in the same Star Wars movie, which is awesome. Because Alan Tudyk's K2SO.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like it. Well. No, I made that up. No, they're not. That's Solo and Rogue One.
Oh, okay.
But they're both in the Star Wars universe.
Okay, well.
Because Paul Bettany's in Solo and Alan Tudyk's in Rogue One. And he's also in Andor.
So sad.
Yeah, he's K2SO. Alan Tudyk is. I met him too. I've met both of them. When I met Alan Tudyk, he went, "Whoa, you're K2 size," and I was like, "It's the best compliment I've ever been given in my whole life." Because I love him. He was also in Firefly. I'm like, "You're so awesome."
He's fun.
He was super nice.
They're
both super nice.
Their dynamic in The Night's Tale was so funny.
That whole movie is great. I don't care what anybody says. You got Queen on the soundtrack. It's really cool. It's a good Heath Ledger film. Every member of the cast is great. It's just a good movie.
It was a good
Freaking
movie.
Mark
I
Addy's in
agree.
there. I love Mark Addy. He's Roland. He's like his little trainer. And then Rufus Sewell is such a dick and everything. Count Adamar. I'm like, you're an asshole. I want to punch you in the teeth. He deserved everything he got. It was great. Tell him your name, William. It was awesome. Whatever. Sorry. Love that movie. Little tangent there, guys. You're welcome.
Yeah, sorry. But, it's a good movie. You should go watch it if you haven't
Yeah,
seen
100%. I guarantee you'll love it. If you don't, we're not friends. But whatever.
it. We can't be friends.
We can't be friends. I don't even like you.
You can't sit with us at the lunch table.
So let's jump into the roll call of death real fast before we get into the rubric. This might have the highest death count of anything we've done so far, I think. I want to say there's
Really?
there's
I guess
148
so.
total deaths in this movie, if you count the gym scene at the end.
Yeah, because I wasn't thinking of that until just a minute ago.
So you got the 4 unnamed people that Lowe killed, but they're off screen where they talk about him, right? And then
yeah.
Craig Thompson, which is the boyfriend from the beginning, has literally his face split in half, and then he gets suffocated by Sadie, which is brutal. Then at least 5 cats and 5 dogs were dissolved by Katie and Michaela in acid off screen, which they talk about that, like, you know how many cats it took to figure this out, which was crazy. Including
I did not
Sadie's
hear
cat.
them say that.
Yeah, because they talk about
Well, I
how
know, because the dad kept saying,
Yeah.
have you seen the cat?
Seen
I'm
the
like,
cat?
that is terrible.
Well, she says, do you know how many cats and dogs it took to figure out the right way to do it? And they say 5 cats and 5 dogs, but one of them was her own cat because she's a serial killer, which is crazy. And then
When did they say that? I missed it.
whenever Lowell is handcuffed and they're getting rid of Craig Thompson towards the very beginning.
Okay.
We're talking about getting rid of his body and stuff.
Totally missed that part, but okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Toby Mitchell, of course, his legs are broken, and then they get stabbed 3 times by Sadie, and then Michaela kills him after she kisses him all weirdly.
His death was so ridiculous.
I know.
Because he still is trying to talk all inspirational to her as his leg is broken and he's getting stabbed to death.
Yeah, I'm glad if I'm going to die.
Yeah.
It's by your hand. And I'm just like, what? But he played that role on purpose. It was just ridiculous. He's uncredited.
Yeah.
Like, he just did it for funsies. Sylvia Stranton, which is Syl, her death is great because she dies by accident. The top of her head cut in half, and then they cut her in little pieces.
Well, she stepped on that chain.
Yeah,
didn't
went up in
she?
the
And
on her
she
leg.
hit the button, and then it just shot her across the room, and her head went. I was like, "Oh my god, all that was an accident." Every single
blood on their face, and they're like, "Damn it!" They're so mad. And then she's like, "You know what? We'll not think this is an accident." And then they cut her in little pieces, which is crazy. And then my favorite death is Big Al, because they're in that weight room, and it's Craig Robinson, which is just hilarious. And they're like hitting him with a weight pole and stuff. And he's just like, what the hell are you doing, crazy bitches? What does he say? You bitches are crazy. Because they throw a dumbbell at him and he catches it like.
I know. He caught it real. He was like, what? And I was like, oh, shit.
He's like, you bitches is crazy. And throws it back at him. He throws her into that glass. And then that weight being dropped on his head like that, for the effect, looked really cool. And his little whimper. As it falls.
No, that was a scream. That was a full-on scream, and I laughed so hard at that. That's the part that actually made me laugh.
Seeing a big man like that make that noise was just great. But it was so abrupt. It didn't make me laugh. And then Lowell finally gets his 5th kill when he shoves Mayor Campbell on that whole flagpole. Like the pole was coming out of their mouth, which is crazy. Then Miss Kent dies. Miss Kent's whole dynamic is funny. How she's obviously sleeping with Big Al. Like, my smoke detectors aren't working again, Big Al. Like, yeah, okay. And then she gets murdered, which is pretty good. Mrs. Welch gets strangled from behind. But that's a flashback. So that's like, what's his face's mom. Then they murder the Rosedale Ripper. She just shoots him in the chest. You had a gun this whole time. Just shot him in the chest like it was nothing. Jordan gets hung by Sadie, even though he was in love with her. And then 124 people are in that gym. Like, very reminiscent of Carrie. Let's see here.
And it's funny to me is they sat outside and they're when all the rescue people are there, and they're kind of grinning And I'm like, no one noticed that?
No one says anything to these kids. It's crazy. Now, Carrie has like 440 people total, so our book definitely has more than this movie. But I think this movie has the highest kill count we've done so far.
Mm-hmm.
Or not kill count, but roll call of death. But yeah, 137 humans, 11 animals.
I'm glad those were done off screen.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because I'd have been really, really upset about that.
Yeah, poor Lowell. It says killed 6 people. Really, he killed 5. Michaela killed 141 people, and then Sadie killed 140 because they share 139 deaths. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people died in this movie. I will say, and we'll get into it on the rubric, but they all looked good. You know, I mean, it definitely has had some homages to Halloween, some homages to Carrie. You know, like when Lowell falls through that window at the sheriff's house, and the sheriff looks down, his body's gone.
He's
That's
gone.
straight Halloween. The Myers
I didn't even
house.
notice that, but yeah.
100%.
I've seen that movie a million times, and I freaking forgot. Yeah, multiple Halloweens. You're right.
Yeah, it happens to Michael Myers like 7 times. The sheriff with the best stash in Hollywood, best mustache ever. I have a note about that. I even said, how dare they mispronounce Dario Argento, but that was on purpose as a little homage to him being the best. Then when I have a note that says, sheriff has a rad stash, because he does.
Also, before I forget, when Syl dies and they have school the next day and they continue to be in session, I'm like, in what school?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a chopped up dead body in a workshop and they're still going to have school?
Yeah.
Business as usual, guys. Just don't go to that end.
Yeah. The shop is closed today.
We don't want to go into summer break. So
yeah. Teachers are like, whoa, bro. Whoa. We can't have this extra day added on to the end. I had a note too about Syl dying, which made me laugh, is that there's a couple things at her memorial that I'm just like, what the hell? In her videos, one of those, she is straight chugging a bottle of alcohol.
Yeah.
You were a junior in high school, and you're just like,
yeah.
and she's throwing it back. And then I really laughed at Big Al's comment. He's like, hey, everybody, I'm Big Al. And he's like, 87. Talking about this handball record. No anything to do with the story. Like, highest handball record in the state right here in this gym, 87-39. Record still stands. But he says it like, yeah. And then gets up there to be like, we're going to fight. I'm just like, this poor child was murdered. You're all at school. Her video is terrible. And Big Al wants you to know that he is a handball champion. Big Al. It's great. Great. It's a good movie. I'm trying to turn you over to the dark side. I realize it's good. You want to jump into the rubric?
Sure.
Okay. So, literary element, the script, story development, dialogue, and character development. I thought it was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Quippy dialogue, a lot of the times. It's very reminiscent of the kids we see every day. I think as teachers, we have a good perspective on how high school kids act and talk and carry themselves. And that seems very much like how these kids are. They're very self-involved, very self-important. We see a lot of dudes pining over girls that are way above their station that they will do anything for. That's kind of very, sadly, reminiscent of true high school mentality.
Yes.
Characters are developed well, I thought. Even the slasher has a good development later on. He's kind of dumb, but you get it. So, yeah, I can't grade it low, but you're the English teacher. What do you think?
I mean, I'm not saying the writing was bad. I just said this wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't say this movie was bad.
I wasn't commenting on that.
Sometimes I feel like you think.
No, I just let you grade the literary element because you're a writer and an English teacher, and I teach chemistry / social studies. So it's a little different, but this is your forte. If you're not noticed on the rubric, I tend to let you do the sound and the literary element, and I either agree or disagree because you are the person.
Okay.
You write books and stuff. Yeah, you're like a writer.
I don't write books.
You have a book in progress.
I do.
So shut your face. you are a writer of books. We'll say a writer of book. No S yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
No S yet.
We'll get there.
Maybe one day.
One day you'll be a famous author.
Maybe we get more. We get more listeners. They'll actually want to read my book, and then we can all be podcast famous. And things.
Just take me with you, please. Let me part of your entourage.
I will try my best. I'll let you do all the covers of my books.
That'd be sweet. I'll be like your attendant at the book things. Oh, I just done the cover. That's cool. Hi guys.
This is my bodyguard.
I'll do it. Stand back there in like a black shirt, arms all crossed, looking all angry. trying to
That's
chuckle.
funny. Okay, we've gotten off track a couple times.
Yes, we have.
That's okay. We've had an interesting week, y'all. Just
Yeah.
bear with us.
I mean, we had delayed last episode. Back to school fiasco was rough. It was rough, y'all.
Yeah, we get to do day 1 over again. It's great. But anyways,
part 2 maybe on Monday. Maybe. Pray for us, y'all. Part 2.
I did think the writing was well done. I didn't see like a lot of issues. I thought Sadie and Michaela had good, I wouldn't necessarily say character development, but their relationship had a really good development. I don't not necessarily think that was because they stayed pretty true to character the whole time.
Yeah, they didn't exactly change, did they?
No, they didn't.
Well, Sadie kind of did a little bit,
but she didn't though.
Well, she transitioned, then realized I was faking it.
She did, but it wasn't for her.
Yeah,
so
true.
She didn't. There wasn't much growth there, but that's not really necessary. The growth happened with their relationship. Like that's where the climax of the story happened. So like that was really well written. I told Johnny, I was like, man, I'll be so mad if they get away with all this shit at the end, and they did. And I was like, of course, they got exactly what they wanted. It almost would have been better if they were still not relevant. Well, I know it would have been so much better at the end if they were still not relevant. I think that would have made it funnier. But like at the same time, it's like they're still such jerks. But there was decent writing, so I would probably score it a 20.
Okay. I agree. I think it was really good. I mean, there's a lot of cliches into it, a lot of horror tropes, but I think that was on purpose. So I kind of was,
I mean, it is a horror too. You're gonna have all those tropes.
Yeah, but it's a self-aware movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And that's true. They're true to character because them teenagers, man, are just like how they act in here.
100%. Apathetic, self-involved, like
everything that teacher said on the board was spot on. Most of them are like that.
I know she was a pretty accurate teacher too, especially that scene later on where she's just like over it and she's like drinking at her desk. This kid's like, I'm done. Whatever.
I'm just gonna throw this in my water bottle and hope nobody notices.
Yeah, we're gonna pretend like it didn't happen.
Mr. Tate was in the faculty.
Same person. All right, let's get into the effects design element. So visual effects elements that connect to the narrative, set design, overall character design, gore, and practical versus digital effects. This for me is super high. I thought the practical effects looked really good, and a lot of them are practical. So Big Al's crushed head, that's practical from what I can tell.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Body, those are all fake prosthetics. It all looked good. Some of the slash throat, like Miss Kent's slash throat, was 100% practical. You can see when she cuts her that her neck's kind of puffy, and it's not CG. And of course, there's some things you have to do in CG, fire for safety, the motorcycle, things like that. But that all looked really good. That stunt actor who did the bike crash was awesome. The hanging, it was really good. Like, the split the face stuff, all that stuff is practical. And I thought that was really, really done well. The set design, it looked like high school in a small town. It looked like it should have. The way they looked was great. I liked the white masks and the hoodies and how at the end they like come out with their like hot pink and green mask. It was very like iconic to them without being like ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like very subtle, but also iconic. So I like that. I think this scores really high for me. This is probably, 23-ish. I think the set, it's high school, so you really can't F that up. The characters look like high school students. I love the scene where Syl knows it's her because of her silly shoes that she made fun of her at cheer practice.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
She's like, Michaela, she's like, damn it, these shoes. You know what I mean? But they're so cute. It's just funny and very much like on point. But that they kept that going and made that like a character element, I thought was really cool. So yeah, it's like funny. A 23 for me.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I love Big Al's head being crushed. It looked crazy, but also really good. And they had the video of it. Like, oh, check this out. And it just looked cool. All right. This one's going to score high, I think. The visual.
It'll score high.
Yeah, as it should.
You thought it wasn't going to.
I was kind of worried that we'd be like, that's crap. But really, from the rubric standpoint, it really changes a lot of things. One day we should go back and do our first couple episodes using this rubric. I think they would score higher.
I'm not watching Smile again. Sorry.
Okay. Other than Smile.
Absolutely not. I'm
I'm with you.
not sweating to death through the next watch of that.
All right.
And there's a part I missed because I wasn't looking. So
Your
I'm
eyes
not
were
watching
closed.
it. Yeah. I was looking at Johnny going, I am not looking at the screen.
That's so funny.
And it was the part where she heard a whisper from the stupid closet.
Yeah.
I said, there's something in there. She's stupid. She turned off all the lights. Who does that? It's dumb.
People in that dumb movie. All right. So the visual technical element. The overall aesthetic of the film is pleasing to the eye. Lighting, creative camera shots, and movement and lens selection. Very artsy looking on a lot of the shots, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Long shots were really cool. Some of that really long focuses, like on the coffee and blood mixing, that's very artistic. You can definitely see this dude did A24 films. Like, he's very much a Hereditary, Midsummer film cinematographer. Has an art vibe. The fact that he's doing Blue Beetle seems kind of weird, but whatever. It could be kind of cool, I guess. He's did a really good job. And Nobody's really fast paced, like action film. And I could see some of those, him developing his style in this movie. So there's a lot of good shots, solid lighting. Like, it's dark when it needs to be dark. It's a little too dark so much on Lola. You can never see his mask all that well, but he's supposed to be like the slasher, so I get it. So overall, it was good. I mean, I think there's some really cool shots. Like, I love that, like I said earlier, that coffee and blood scene. I love the shots at the very beginning in the car with the fog windows.
Say, that's probably the shot wise, that's probably the scene that I will remember the most because, it looks so classic.
Yeah.
Too. And then when he gets out, it kind of, to me, was reminiscent of like either Beetlejuice or Sleepy Hollow type because of the covered bridge and the cornfields behind them and stuff. Like, it just looked really good.
Yeah,
and
it gave me a
spooky.
supernatural vibe. You know what I mean? Like, this movie could have, from that
Yeah,
point, could have been slasher or like crazy ghost movie. Either way, it wouldn't have mattered. It had that kind of like classic shot. And I really thought it looked good. Like, the aesthetic part of this film is nice. It's definitely someone you can tell that has a very artistic eye. Again, I mean, Hereditary and Midsommar are wild, but they look really pretty. So, like, he did a good job, I think, on some of these shots. The stuff in that, that shot of her head going over the blade and just how it like tracks with her was really cool. Their fight scene with Big Al was really good. There's some really cool shots and some good like third focuses I liked a lot. So it's high for me. It's probably another 20 for me, 22, something like that. What do you think?
Okay. I mean, let's go in the middle, 21.
Okay. Sounds good to me. All right. The sound element. The sound represents the overall tone of the film. The soundtrack, as well as the score, keeps the audience engaged with the setting, characters, location, and narrative of the piece.
So, I really wish I could remember the scene that this happened in, but I looked at Johnny and said, this music is so absurd. But it fits so well with what was going on because they were so ridiculous. It was like, like, it was like we have the subtitles on our screen because I'm deaf and I'm not literally deaf, but like I can't hear very well, especially when like our stuff's running in our house or whatever. But
yeah.
It kept going do all like across the screen. I'm just laughing. I was like, what is this song even? And I think it was right around when they were about to kill Toby is probably when it popped up. I'm like, they are so ridiculous because they were so angry with him over something so dumb. But I thought the score was good, and it's the sounds of the phones and the where they airdrop all the pictures to everybody and like just I don't know, in general it was really well done. It scores high for me because I like to me the music was ridiculous along with Michaela and Sadie because they were ridiculous even though they were horrible humans.
Yes.
Like, they were also absolutely
I know. It
ridiculous.
was like
Like,
Clueless
they
meets Scream.
yeah, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The music
So,
was fitting. It was ridiculous, but
to them,
fitting. Yeah.
it's
It
fitting for them because they were a, what is the word I'm looking for? It was like their characters shouldn't exist because they're like this really like because they're sociopaths, both of
yeah,
them.
100%.
Everyone loves them. They play two roles very well.
Yeah.
It's like they shouldn't exist, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. There was a weird juxtaposition into the film because it was like dark and people are dying and they're like, "Oh my god, look at me. My top is so pretty." You just killed
Yeah,
somebody and then you're mad
it's
you got blood on
definitely a
your
dark
shoes.
comedy for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's got that vibe to it. And I totally agree that the sound effects were really well. Like that the sound of the saw coming on, that really cool like
Yeah.
sound, but there was no music at the time. So it's like zzz, it's just loud. It was really cool. And some of the effects, like when they're dragging Lowell's chair, like just those little sound bits that you wouldn't normally
Mhm.
notice were good on
Yeah.
this one. Sometimes they're overdone, sometimes they're underdone, but they were good, I think. So what do you think?
That's not necessarily a 20. I would say more of like an 18-ish.
So let's say if we did an 18, it's 82, I think.
I kind of saw that coming. It was going to score kind of high. That's high enough, right? It's 82. It's a low B, but it's a B.
It's a B.
Yep.
It's better than some of the other movies we've done, man.
Oh, and yes.
So I think it was,
I
I said,
agree.
earned his B. And definitely got an A. You know, some of the sound was solid. It wasn't bad. The effects, I think, are really good for what it is. You know, lower budget. I think looking back now that I think that budget was wrong. I think that was, I forgot to delete the one from the faculty. So I'm not even sure what the budget of this movie was. It's not listed on any page I can find. So yeah, that 15 million is not their budget. So who knows what they made this for? So yeah, just scratch that from your brains. But the rest of it should be correct. My bad. But for what they did, looked great. The effects team did a great job. It's shot really well. I can see, like, again, I can see why this guy moved on to more the artsy A24 films and now going into a
Yeah.
big DCU, like becoming like a cinematographer that's like, you know, hopefully in demand because he has a good eye. There's some cool shots. I love this movie. Aaron loves this movie. I think it's just like the satire in it is so funny and the
Yeah,
nods.
Johnny loves this movie.
And I'm glad that at least Johnny liked it and it's something you guys hadn't seen. Because it's like, you know, I think from our standpoint as teachers, this is the kind of stuff we see. And to see it accurately displayed in a film, and it's not every kid again, but there are these type of kids. I'm not saying they're all murderers, but
Well,
everything
no.
minus the murder are some of these students we've dealt with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just really cool. Yeah, and I like
Yeah,
it.
they're just trying so hard to be relevant on social media because
Yeah.
that's all they know at this point. Social media has raised them.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not trying to be hateful to parents out there. It's just you hand a child a phone and you give them access to social media. Social media helps raise them.
Yeah, and teaches them
And
everything.
so,
It ain't you no more.
yeah, so I try to keep my boys away from it as much as I could. I know they're probably sneaking and added on to things without my knowledge because, they have to request apps, but they don't have to request if they get directly onto the internet,
Yeah.
So,
Kids are resilient.
I
They're
know
sneaky.
but at the same time, it's like I've tried to it makes me feel sorry for some of like I was telling Mandy, I felt sorry for her niece because I don't want her like she's really, she likes to be on social media. She loves Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. But like she's now like at an age where she's, worried about being too big or doing this. And she's not. There's nothing big about her. And I'm like, it just makes me sad that there's like little girls out there that think they don't look good enough. And I know that's always been an issue, but I think it's more prominent now. I say, because I don't remember being as upset about that in high school because no one said anything to me,
Yeah.
and I was not heavy. Like, you always kind of like you look at magazines and stuff, but we didn't have access to I've had internet, but I mean, I couldn't do much on it and I didn't
Yeah,
know
it
what to
wasn't the
look at,
same. We didn't have
No, it
phones either where it
wasn't.
was always there.
Yeah, and my phone didn't do anything. Like I had to it cost money to open a text message or send one. Like it wasn't a thing. So,
Well,
but like It just makes me sad that social media is just this thing where they feel like they have to prove how relevant they are, and I'm like, "No, you're relevant enough by existing, so
Yeah.
I don't understand why you don't need to have that validation, but they do."
They
So
feel like they need it, man, because everybody they follow
yeah,
is like fake. They don't realize that all those photos you see and all those posts are
yeah,
usually staged and totally fake. It's nonsense, for the most
yeah,
part. It's nonsense.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think for the commentary, the social commentary, and the satire of this film, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really good movie. It says a lot without saying a lot, and does a good job of kind of
Yeah,
highlighting a really like you just kind of said, a really sad piece of our modern society.
yeah,
Is how kids feel like they have to be relevant in order to be liked, or they have to look a certain way, or dress a certain way, or act a certain way to be liked, and how
yeah.
important that is to them. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So yeah, good movie. Go watch it. I highly recommend it. Johnny recommends it. Aaron recommends it. Jenny's a meh on it, but it's okay.
I mean, you can watch it. I mean, most people would probably like it. I just didn't love it like
Yeah,
everyone else loved it.
it's fine. You don't have
So
to. That's the whole point of this podcast.
no, it
If you
is.
agree with me all the time, then our shit would be boring.
It sure would.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
mean,
lot of stuff that you have picked that I have destroyed. So
I know, because you have bad taste. It's fine.
yet you still want to be my friend. So
It's because no one else likes me, Jenny.
whatever. You told me I like 10 people. Or no, you didn't even say 10. You said less than that.
Yeah, I know. Because I tolerate like 6 people. Everyone else, it's fake. I'm like, hey, oh my God, we're so nice. And I'll leave like, God, please don't ever talk to me again. It's terrible. I have weird social anxiety. I don't like people. I don't let you in.
I don't like people much either. So you're
Yeah.
you're one of the lucky ones too.
All right. Well, because when I was
Right?
younger, I was these kids. I wanted to be relevant. I wanted to be liked, and I wasn't. So it's like
I did not care. I was a dark little
it took me a long time
turd.
not to care. And even now, I still care a little bit, but I want different people to like me for different reasons.
Right.
Just because I'm like,
Yes.
you seem cool, I want you to like me because I don't like these sports people, or I want someone to talk to
I don't
that
do
has similar interests as me.
I don't do the sports ball, so
Nah, I try to fake it, but it's hard.
I know nothing about our principal yesterday said something about the end zone in the gym, and I'm like, "There's no end zone in here." It was
That was
really
it.
funny. That
You're
was
like,
it.
got him,
She,
dang.
she goes, "I don't know. That's not the right term for this area." And I was like, "It's not." That's so funny.
Everyone thinks you're a sports person now. You know the end zone.
Well, I know what end zone is.
Yeah.
I know nothing about football. I could tell you that right now. I don't get it. I don't think nothing. None of it makes sense. I haven't watched it enough. I can tell you all about baseball because I grew up on a
Well,
baseball field.
not
Thanks to
I.
my brother and my sister.
Not I.
So
Well, that has nothing to do with this episode, so we're going to move past it.
you know what? Whatever. Like I
We've
said,
got-
this week has been. It's just
been rough.
off kilter, man. There's nothing about this week that made sense.
No. For those of you who don't live in Louisville, we've had some bus debacles that have had us no kids in school for a whole week. Like, we started school one day. It was a
Yes.
complete, and I mean utterly complete shit show. Last kid got home
It
at
was a
10 o'clock.
dumpster fire.
It was a landfill fire. It wasn't even a dumpster fire. It was terrible. And we've been out of school ever since. So we went last Wednesday. Didn't go this entire week. Didn't go Thursday or Friday. Elementary went back today. And it seems so far, I think it's gone okay. But we're
Elementary and middle have gone back today.
we're waiting to see. I'm sure the news will cover it later. But yeah, high school starts back on Monday, hopefully. So hopefully everything's cool.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still missing a large majority of the kids on the buses. So
The majority of kids on the buses, like they're
Yeah,
high schoolers.
right.
The majority are high
Yeah.
schoolers. Elementary school kids, but a lot of them parents take them. So a lot of this is high school kids who aren't there. So Monday is going to
Yeah.
be another dumpster fire, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, give us a little grace, y'all. And
sorry, y'all. Wish
yeah.
y'all could see his face right now.
I know. I'm trying to be positive. It's really hard.
It is really hard. We're trying to be like, we got this. We're gonna do it.
At this point, on that
Maybe.
dog meme, everything is fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. And the whole building's on fire around me, but it's whatever. We'll get through it, y'all. Like
Yeah.
Andy says, we'll get through it together. We got this covered.
Yeah.
So, yep.
We got this.
Anything you want to add before we tell them where to find us?
Just that if you're following along, Carrie by Stephen King is our book this month. So
Yeah.
we will have that for you next Sunday.
Yep. It's a great intro to Stephen King. It's not a long book. It's not like you're reading The Shining. It's a doorstop, or It's also a doorstop. Like Carrie's an easy read, I think. So read along with us, guys. I know you think. And yeah,
right.
you want to tell them where they can find us?
I sure can. They can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Horror in the Halls. You can also follow Jenny_Dreffels on Instagram. You can email us at horrorinthehalls@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
Well, guys, and don't forget, we are still doing a back to school Patreon special where if you join our Patreon in the month of August, you'll get like some stickers and some bookmarks and some other random assorted swag, just as a thank you for us for helping support what we're doing here. So we would appreciate it if you want to. If not, that's fine too. Whatever. I don't really care, but I will mail you some fun stuff if you do. Maybe I'll draw you a picture or something. Who knows?
Yeah. I'll draw you a picture of a ghost.
Yeah. And I'll do
I'm good at those.
I'm not good at drawing anything, but you'll get something.
I was being sarcastic.
I know. Yeah, your ghost was awesome. You get like a Michael Myers stick figure with a knife. It's gonna be
great.
With a beard. It'll be me. I'll draw you a self-portrait. Join our Patreon.
Oh, that's a good idea.
If you join at the highest level, I will draw you a self-portrait. Just FYI. It will be a stick figure self-portrait with a screw.
That would
beard,
be
but you'll
so
get one
funny.
autographed by me. And when I'm famous, you can say you have a Mr. Holland original.
Exactly.
All right, guys. So yeah, I guess that's gonna be it. That's gonna be the bell. We're gonna get out of here. We'll see you next time.
Bye.